I've had my colours done twice, I've had my wardrobe edited, and I still have nothing to wear. If you recognise this, it's not about clothes. I have nothing to wear is one of the most misunderstood statements a woman can make, and one of the most revealing. It is not ever really about the clothes. It's about disconnection, identity, and a quiet gap that opens up between who a woman is on the inside and how she shows up on the outside. If you have ever stood in front of your wardrobe and felt completely uninspired and a little hopeless, this episode is for you. Welcome to Style and Confidence, where transformative coaching meets personal styling for business success. I'm your host, Claire Silk, a transformative life coach and a personal stylist, passionate about helping women like you align your inner worth with your outer expression. Each week, we explore how to build lasting confidence from the inside out, so you can show up as your most authentic, empowered self. Whether you're looking to break through limiting beliefs, build authentic confidence and a winning mindset, or create a wardrobe that truly empowers you, you are in the right place. Get ready to transform your relationship with both your mind and your style. Welcome back to my podcast where I talk about style, confidence and identity for women who are ready to feel like themselves again. So this week, after delivering a workshop on colour, I was speaking to a lady who felt unsure how to match the items in her wardrobe and how to create outfits. She was feeling a little bit helpless because, in her words, she had had her colours done twice, had her wardrobe edited, and still had nothing to wear. She stood at her wardrobe in the morning for 10 minutes wondering what on earth to wear, trying on different outfits, and felt quite stuck still. But this isn't a problem with the colours that she has in her wardrobe, and it isn't a problem with the clothes that she has in her wardrobe. This is something else. But there have been many women before, and there will still be many women, who stand there in front of very many clothes saying, I have nothing to wear. It is one of the most misunderstood sentences a woman can say. And today I'd like to consider what that really means, because it is almost never about the clothes. So in that moment, a woman opens her wardrobe, and there are obviously a lot of choices, but she feels nothing, or worse, she feels overwhelmed or frustrated or defeated. And so she says, exasperated, I have nothing to wear. But what she means is something quite different. She might be saying, I don't know who I am anymore, or I've changed and my wardrobe hasn't caught up. Or perhaps I don't feel worth the effort of getting dressed well today. Or the one that it most usually comes down to. None of these clothes feel like me, but I'm not sure what me looks like right now. And this is where my work starts. Each of these is a different problem. And none of them is solved by buying a new dress, no matter how nice it is. In my work, I see this show up in really quite specific ways. A woman will stand in front of her wardrobe feeling paralysed, not because there's nothing in there, but because nothing feels right. Often there's a lot of choice, which itself is causing a paralysis. And she might spend longer getting dressed than she should. Finally, pulling on whatever's easiest, a safe outfit, an invisible outfit, and then leave feeling vaguely deflated and most definitely not at her best. And when we get dressed, we want to feel at our best. It is important that your clothes do that for you. So she might go shopping and buy things that seem perfect in the shop and feel completely wrong the moment she gets home. She might have a rail of clothes that she never wears, perhaps one-day clothes, or when I lose the weight clothes, or just in case clothes. Each one is ever so slightly a version of herself that she's not quite living yet or not living anymore. And she might have brushed this off as a problem that's too superficial to be taken seriously. However, your wardrobe is not a superficial problem. It is a mirror. And what it is showing you is worth paying attention to. Our wardrobes hold a lot of history. Really, your wardrobe is a record of everywhere you've ever been. You've got memories from things. You've bought things in places. Perhaps they were given to you as presents. Perhaps you remember wearing them on a first date somewhere. If you go to your wardrobe now, you'll likely find clothes from the woman you were 5 years ago, a job you had, a relationship you used to be in, clothes that fit a body you used to have, or even a version of you who dressed for other people's comfort, not your own. You'll find clothes that belong to certain roles, perhaps a capable professional outfit, a reliable mum outfit, maybe an outfit from when you were partying in your 20s, and then also maybe an outfit that fades into the background at social events because you stopped feeling sure of yourself in these rooms. But the trouble is, you might not be any of those women anymore. You might have moved on, changed jobs, left a relationship, come through something difficult, arrived somewhere new, a new chapter in your life. But your wardrobe still represents all these previous versions of you, and it hasn't kept up. So when you open it and feel despair, it's that nothing in there belongs to the woman you are becoming. So if it's not about clothes, what is it about then? Well, in my experience, this tends to be one of three things, or perhaps even all three at once. First, an identity shift, usually a quiet, gradual process of losing the thread back to yourself. It doesn't happen dramatically, it happens over years of showing up for other people. And this can happen to so many women as you're there for your children, your partner, your employer, your team at work. Perhaps you're taking care of parents, and then you've got friends in need too. And you keep giving, and somewhere in the giving, you stop asking yourself what you actually want, and what you actually like, and what you actually feel. And you begin to lose yourself. And then one day you open your wardrobe and realise, I've got nothing that represents who I am right now, although you don't think about it like that. You're dressing for a version of yourself that no longer quite exists, but it can be really hard to see what the current version of you actually looks like. Secondly, perhaps your life has moved faster than your wardrobe. I've worked with many women that have experienced this as well, where life has changed significantly. They've had a big promotion, they've changed careers, they've started their own business. Sometimes they've turned 40 or 50, a relationship or a marriage has ended and they've finished that big chapter in their lives and they're starting a new one, finding out who they are now. Some women have had children who have grown up and they're in a different chapter there. And in all of these moments, the woman herself has changed too. She's more experienced, more grounded, clearer about who she is now in this moment. But the wardrobe is still dressing for the woman that she has been in all of those different chapters. There's a particular kind of dissonance in this, where you walk out of the door looking like your old self and feeling like your new self. And those don't quite match. It feeds imposter syndrome and creates a gap between your inner sense of capability and how you are being perceived. But it's not about fashion. It's not about wearing clothes that are dated. It's about the fact that your image hasn't caught up with who you've actually become now. And then thirdly, the quiet belief that you're not worth it. This is quite tender and the one that most women are least likely to say out loud. But it is there, a quiet, barely conscious sense that getting dressed with particular care and attention is something other women do, or something you do when you have to get dressed up for something. Perhaps it's something that women with more time do, or more money, or a more obvious need to be seen. It shows up as, I'll sort my wardrobe out when I've lost the weight, or I'll invest in myself when things are calmer, or I don't really need to look good right now. Nobody's looking at me. Or, well, I just work from home, or I'm not seeing anyone. Underneath all of these seemingly very reasonable sounding deferrals is a belief that they are not worth the effort. Not today, maybe not ever. And this belief absolutely cannot be addressed by simply getting some new clothes. And it's the one I most want to gently, firmly challenge, because you are worth it, exactly as you are. In the body that you are in right now, and in the life that you are actually living. Not a future version of yourself, but this version of yourself that you have today. The way most of us have been taught to think about getting dressed really does work against us. We've been taught that getting dressed is about looking good for other people, making the right impression, about being appropriate, which can sometimes make you feel like you don't want to stand out too much and you need to fit in to whichever context you happen to be in that day. And getting dressed under that framework is exhausting. It's an endless performance and it feels like a burden to a lot of people. But there's a different way to think about it. Getting dressed is one of the only daily rituals that you do entirely for yourself. Nobody else can feel how your clothes feel on you. Nobody else can feel the quiet confidence of putting on something that just fits, not just in a physical way, but in an identity way. Something that says, this is me, and this is exactly where I am right now. That true expression of yourself and your identity. And when you get dressed in something that genuinely reflects who you are, then you carry yourself differently. You take up space in a different way. You kind of beam. And so you speak with a different quality of confidence and you carry a different energy. Not because the clothes are doing the work, but because of the act of choosing them deliberately, with care. It's an act of self-respect and your body can feel it. And this is why I work with confidence and identity and style together, because they're not entirely separate things. The way you dress is not a reflection of your contribution. It's a very real contribution to it. Every morning you have the opportunity to send yourself a message. And that message is simply either I matter or I don't. I think you matter, and I think you've always mattered. The years of putting yourself last have convinced you otherwise. And I think your wardrobe is one of the places where that story is most clearly written. And now let's consider what you can do about this. Here are 3 questions that I would invite you to sit with. So don't rush them. Maybe pause this or come back to this later and consider each one. Question 1. When you open your wardrobe, what feeling comes up? Not what you think of it, but what do you feel? Notice that feeling within your body. Is it overwhelm, emptiness, frustration? Do you get a sense of not recognizing yourself? Whatever it is, just notice it and use that as information. Question 2. Who is your wardrobe dressed for? The woman you were a few years ago? The woman you thought you'd be by now? The woman other people expect to see? Or the woman that you are actually today? And question 3. What would it mean to dress for you, for yourself, for joy? Not for an occasion or for other people's comfort or what's expected of you, not for a future version of you, but for who you are right now in this moment. And what would that even look like? These questions are just the beginning, because the answer to I have nothing to wear is not a shopping trip. It's a conversation, a deeper one, about who you are now, who you are becoming, and what you want the outside of your life to say about the inside. And that's exactly the work I do with women. Not telling them what to wear, but helping them get clear enough on who they are so that getting dressed becomes easy, expressive, and joyful. The woman I mentioned at the beginning, the one who said she had nothing to wear, she wasn't talking about clothes. She was telling me that she'd lost the thread back to herself, that she'd been so busy building her life, she'd forgotten to check in on who she was becoming inside it. And she is not alone. In my experience, she's one of many. And if you recognised yourself in this episode, that recognition is just the beginning. You haven't lost yourself. You've just lost sight of her temporarily. She's still there, waiting to be found again. Getting dressed is not about looking good for the world. It's about coming home to yourself, and you can do this one morning at a time. If you'd like to explore what this work could look like for you, I'd love to invite you to book a clarity edit with me. This is a 90-minute, single, powerful session designed to help you see yourself more clearly and understand exactly what's getting in the way. Email me to find out more on claire@clairesilk.com, and I'll leave that link in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll be back next week. Thank you for listening to Style and Confidence, where style meets confidence for business success. If you have enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend, rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss out on our weekly confidence-building conversations. You can also connect with me over on LinkedIn as Claire Silk or on Instagram at Silk Style and Confidence for more style and mindset tips. Until next time, remember, true confidence comes from within. Style helps it shine.